Hello everyone, welcome to Module 1. My name is Josh Sauer. I am from Garden City, Kansas, and that is where I currently teach. I graduated from Hayes in 2006 with a bachelor's in graphic design. Then moved to Kansas City and Lawrence, worked for Auto Trader for several years, designing websites. And after so many years in the corporate world, it kind of wears you down. I had a lot of disagreements with the higher ups, so I decided to quit and move back home to a slower pace. Garden City has a little over 28,000 residents. It's been called a melting pot of diversity with 20 different ethnicities. The Hispanic population is the majority. According to KSDE, we are the 9th largest enrollment in Kansas with approximately 7,500 students, and we are the 2nd largest district in Kansas with 18 schools altogether. I teach at 2 elementary schools. My primary school that I'm at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is Victor Ornelas Elementary. I teach kindergarten through 4th grade. This school has 421 students with a Hispanic population of 94.38%. Special education population is 14.7%, and my class sizes range anywhere between 20 and 27 students. There's 219 males and 202 females. My secondary school is Buffalo Jones. It's also kindergarten through 4th. It has 249 students, so quite a bit smaller. I'm only there 2 days a week. The Hispanic population is about the same at 94.21%. SPED population is 16.2. My class sizes are quite a bit smaller. They range between 12 and 22 students. The largest challenge during the pandemic for me was we did not have much time to prepare for it, obviously. So I had to really kind of improvise on how to teach to a screen. I knew that I had to see past the screen and see the students that I was teaching, but I had to kind of build some things to display what I was working on, whether it was a draw along or I was teaching specific skills with shading or anything. One of the other major challenges that we had was the fact that a lot of our students did not have art supplies at home. So we had to figure out how to get art supplies to my students, and I had to drastically manipulate my lesson plans to consider what little materials they had at home to work with. There was a silver lining for me. We now know how to effectively get supplies to all of our students. I gained a lot of knowledge on techniques that can be used when teaching art through video and live streams. I also feel that I am now prepared to be able to teach under any future circumstances. Hopefully nothing comes up, but I feel like I'm prepared for it. It also made me really appreciate face-to-face teaching much more. 3 types of mindsets. All students can learn: teacher collaboration over isolation, happiness, and optimism. All students can learn. I completely agree with this. I've seen examples of it in my classroom. Students that don't want to draw or don't think they can draw or paint or create anything artistically. I've worked with them and their teachers. I even reached out to some parents just to find some interests that they have, and I've seen a lot of turnarounds where those students are now engaged in my class and really enjoy art. Teacher collaboration over isolation, I agree with as well. When I first started teaching, I didn't really reach out very much. I had the support there, but I don't know if it was due to shyness or if I thought it would make me look not professional, like I should know these things instead of asking. But now I reach out all the time, probably more than I should. Happiness and optimism. I always believe that this is a key. I've seen examples in my own classroom, and I understand how a teacher, administrator, whoever is the center of the attention, their mood that they are displaying affects the student's mood. So I've always kept that in mind when teaching. 5 types of dispositions. Confidence. Obviously, leaders should be confident. I agree. As I've said, I work at 2 different elementary schools. I have 2 different principals, and I can see a major difference between one that is much more confident and not afraid of taking a stand for the best interests of her students, while the other one is more of a yes man, saying only what pleases the public, making themselves look good. Risk taker and decisive. Obviously, leaders should be responsible risk takers. I agree with that. Once again, the difference in my 2 schools is very apparent. The leadership in each principal sets the tone for the leadership in each school's teachers and trickles down to the students. Sense of humor has always been one of my major must-haves in a workplace. If colleagues don't have a sense of humor, no matter how awesome the job is, it makes it difficult to enjoy it. I'm very fortunate that most all of my colleagues have a sense of humor. It got us through some pretty dark times through the pandemic. Empathetically assertive. The best leaders are not afraid to move forward. They embrace change. Once again, I was afraid of change at first. I avoided it at all costs, but the pandemic, that was kind of another silver lining, being forced into all kinds of change. I've now changed my perspective on it, and I have learned to embrace it. The most effective leaders are continuous learners. I've always agreed with this. If we're not continuously learning as educators, we are going to get left behind, and our students will be the ones who suffer from it. 3 types of practices. Focus and prioritizing. I've always been an advocate for prioritizing and focusing on the most important task at hand and trickling down to the least important. My wife gives me crap because I make lists daily of what I need to get done that day, starting with the most important. Examining feedback and data. Highly effective school leaders do not collect data with little relevance. Obviously, they need to be data-driven. I give several assessments each year, and I collect a lot of data, but that's all I do with it, so I know that I need to figure out how to put that data to use on a daily basis. That's something I need to work on. Emotional intelligence. Every interaction a leader has with someone either leaves that person inspired, motivated, or demotivated. I agree completely. There's a huge shortage in our district, so I'm constantly being moved from school to school each year. And I've experienced principals that are great leaders and some that just like to please their staff. And it shows. The 8 principles of ethical leadership. Personal courage. Obviously, administrators need to be courageous. They take stands when they see that something isn't in the best interest of their school, their students, and teachers. I've seen principals stand down when certain new policies have been put into place where other principals have stood up. Public interest ahead of self. I feel like this is common sense. Self-control, discipline, and integrity. Followers in the wider community look to leaders in all capacities, and as such, it's necessary for leaders to be a positive role model. Obviously, I feel like this is common sense too. If a leader doesn't have respectable relationships with coworkers and the whole school community, it's not going to be a pleasant place. Task and employee centeredness. Great leaders focus their attention on the strengths and needs of both the teachers and students. If an administrator is not focused on teacher and students' needs, this creates an unhappy environment. If they are not feeding off their strengths, then there is probably little motivation at that school. Recognizing talent. I always have agreed with this. I've recognized talents in many of my students. Some can draw better than others. Some can paint better than others. I just need to figure out how to put these strengths to use on a daily basis. Another thing I need to work on. Requiring high ethics from everyone, sensitivity and understanding, and inclusiveness. All of these are high priority for me as well. Everyone needs to be included. That just creates a better environment in my classroom. If administrators are not considering the opinions and concerns of their school community, whether they're right or wrong, they will most likely damage the school's environment. My strengths, there have been many weaknesses that have turned into strengths throughout these courses. There are areas that I have had strengths in, but they are much stronger now. Now I branch out to everyone. I help the music teachers create backdrops for student musicals, using the students to create the artwork for those backdrops, decorating lunchroom for National School Lunch Week when they ask me to. I go out and look for other work now to assist them because a lot of them have helped me through a lot as well. Weaknesses, I'm still not where I want to be as far as involvement in my schools, but I feel like once I am done with this program, I will have a lot of time to work on that. Educational success support. All of this increases engagement and motivation among teachers and students. It generates greater improvement in all that are involved. It creates a more successful environment all around. I also believe it lessens stress, which means happier principal, happier administrators, which means happier teachers, and happier students. Conclusion. This assignment, the correlation between the two, it's taught me kind of how to teach myself to be a better leader so that I can better help my students with their success and well-being in the future. Relevancy, it's obviously relevant to my learning so that I can take this knowledge, pass it along to other members of my school community and help them, and put it into action to help move my school forward at a much faster pace. Personal reflection, this assignment has provided the information for me to become a much better leader in education, how to become a more effective leader, and how to best help my colleagues and students succeed, creating a better environment overall with both of my schools. Thank you for watching.